Other services, it's on page 93. It's one of those lines that floats around. There used to be other multiple things here. This is one of those accounts that's sort of dictated by the chart of accounts by the state, which is why it sits in other safety services, and it's the hydrants. It's what we pay for the fee. And this is with a $400,000 bill. When you apply the 18.71% rate increase, you end up going from $400,000 basically to $475,000.
When they do this rate increase, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I just have a quick question. They apply different rate increases to different issues, like residents versus this and that, and hookups and temporary things at the beach. And fire hydrants is getting exactly the same rate as the residents?
Yes.
Okay, that answers the question.
Mr. Moore?
Well, there's been some comments, and I think there is a good philosophical discussion regarding default budget calculations. But right now, Mike, the number that you have in the default budget for hydrants is the 404.
Yes.
So we're not going to be able to do anything about, well, we're going to intervene. We're going to try to do something about how much Aquarion increases.
But you're going to eat.
But we're going to eat $71,000 in a default budget calculation because we're not going to turn off the hydrants, and we're not going to turn off 3% of them or 8% of them. So I think the default works both ways.
I totally agree with you that there's got to be a solid discussion there, and on both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, understood.
Thank you.
Mr. Nichols?
No, understood.
Mr. No?
Patriotic purposes, we're getting towards the end here. Page 147 is payback. Patriotic purposes is funds, flags, flowers, other Memorial Day expenses that are purchased through the American Legion, and also American flags for town property. This year we ran at 1887, and that shouldn't increase during the year. So I've brought the budget up to 1800 to match more or less what we've been doing from 1650. So it's showing a 9% increase, but we're talking $150, $250.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
We've been running an increase for several years that we haven't accounted for.
Yep.
Questions?
I don't have any questions with this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Moore?
No, sir. Thank you.
Negative, sir.
No. No. Okay.
Same page, town beautification, $500. Nothing's been spent at the moment, but I believe we'll be getting bills for the flowers that have been put around, etc. This encompasses a lot of different properties, and they do a fantastic job for $500 for making the town hall look good, etc. So we've kept the budget the same.
Yeah, it does look nice in front.
Mr. Bean? No. Okay.
All right, the last one will be municipal debt, which is page 149. When I generated this, and I'll direct you to the right page, the last line in each section references the wastewater treatment plant improvements, number 4, which is an SRF loan for $1.385 million. When I generated this budget, with my impression that we would have final completion date in 2012, the loan would be generated, and we'd have the first payment in 2013. That was not true. We have received the loan agreement, and the SRF is going to be in place with a final completion date of 2013, which then puts the first payment 1 year later onto 2014. So what I'm saying is that I want to make 2 adjustments. One to debt principal, reducing to $69,250, and then the reference line below that, which is the interest associated with that, of the $46,800. So I am requesting an adjustment down of $116,063, and so the 2 lines will be reduced by that. When you take that into account, the debt of 12 versus 13 is down $716,000. The majority of that being the final payment of the police station was this year in 12, and so it does not occur again in 13.
And how was the new total on a 698, 250? That's on page 150, total interest?
Principal will be $1,811,530.
Do it again, please.
Principal is going to be $1,811,530. And the debt interest is $651,437. And so those will be reflected in what, if you're looking at the page right now on the left, will be the Board of Selectmen column. So, and they are a net change down of $116,000.
Other questions, Mr. Pierce?
No, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Moore?
No, sir.
Mr. Bean?
Negative, sir.
Mr. Nichols?
Yep, just a comment on debt service and how it fits into the big picture. And I made some of this last week, Ben, you weren't here, but if you were to strictly look at the increasing the operating budget 2013 over 2012 on a bottom line basis, you would see a number of 1.93%, which has shifted a little bit, basically in that ballpark. The reality is the only reason, main reason, that it is that low is 2013 is an aberration year as far as debt service. We have the police station loan at $662,000 in its final year going away in 2012. We have 3 approved bonded articles, or probably 2 bonds, but Fire Station 1, Fire Station 2, and the Church Street Pump Station, which first-year debt service, which will not kick into 2014, thus the 13 being the aberration year, of $876,000. 2 numbers that are very important in terms of having perspective. One is if you remove debt service from the equation of the comparison of 2013 to 2012, the operating budget net of debt service actually goes up 5%, and that's primarily driven by collective bargaining agreements that have already been approved. 5% sounds like a big number, but it's actually a 2-year collective bargaining impact because those numbers of the 2012 collective bargaining impact were not in the 2012 budget. Very similar to that, if you were to roll that $876,000 of 2014 debt service and say, geez, what if that actually had hit in 2013? Because we know it's going to hit. You would end up with about a 5.5% increase. So either way, those percentages are going to hit the taxpayers. So you can't just, it's much more complicated because of the aberration of the drop, temporary drop in the 2013 debt service than simply, geez, it's less than a 2% increase. So those are my comments.
Mr. Bean?
No comment, sir.
Okay.
I would like to thank the board for having this special meeting. I felt that this really, we've been at it for a couple hours, but to do this today is so much easier than inside of one of your meetings.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and so I want to really appreciate it and say thank you, and it got everybody in and out relatively quickly. And once again, thank you very much.
I thought you moved us
thinking
all
of
over
it.
the place just to confuse us.
Well, I made you go through the book 3 times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Mike.
nice evening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.